A witch keeps a curse away for 20 years only to return on her son's wedding day.
Hello, and welcome to our channel. The Accursed is a 2021 horror film inspired by folklore and witchcraft. Today, we'll be reviewing and recapping the events of this film, so let's check it out.
An opening crawl tells us of ancient sisterhoods in the Balkans who were able to use magic to manipulate the elements. Unfortunately, some conjured death magic, and for this, they were cast out and sent to America. There these sisterhoods thrived except for the trio, Hannah, Naida, and Aishi. We arrive at a wedding party where upbeat traditional Eastern European music plays as revelers enjoy themselves. The camera is from the point of view of Aishi as she appears to leave the party and walk into the darkness, drawing the attention of a few curious party guests. She finds a man and a woman kissing, Thomas and Hannah. She pushes Thomas back and impales him on a spike, then takes Hannah by the neck and begins to cast a curse on her as she tries to stab her with a long needle. As she speaks the words, Hannah is able to force the needle deep into her eye, killing her. Naida enters and asks if Aishi was able to complete the words of the curse she was casting. The abolishment curse. Hannah doesn't know, but in any case, Naida has to sever her hand. The hand that takes the life carries the life. When they bury her, they place Hannah's severed hand over her mouth. It must remain buried with her silencing her so her spirit can never complete the curse.
Already, there's a sense of authenticity and thought that's gone into the magic of this film, which always makes for a rewarding horror experience.
As the titles play, we see scrolls that tell us the abolishment curse is forbidden, and once it has been cast, it can never be removed. We arrive at the story 22 years later after the betrayal at the wedding of Hannah's son Peter to Sunny. The bride and groom perform a tradition of pricking their fingers, pressing the blood into a piece of bread and eating it. Naida approaches them and spits on Sunny's foot. Hannah tries to pass this off as being a good luck superstition, and while this may be true, her intentions seem less than friendly. After Peter and Sunny enjoy their first dance, she notices a thick bunch of horny. Peter says it's called firethorn, a bush with mystical properties, with thorns that will lock into place around a victim. He says it has protected his family for generations. On the other hand, Naida is furious that this wedding has been allowed to take place on the land where their sister is buried. She thinks Hannah is short-sighted for risking awakening their sister's vengeance. Sunny suggests Peter get him a drink, and while he's gone, she puts her foot in the firethorn, and its vines reach out for her foot and wrap around it, piercing her skin and drawing blood. Peter rushes over to save her and whispers an incantation to the thorns so they release her.
As he runs to fetch Hannah for some healing herbs, she turns and whispers to the thorns in a foreign language. She has a sinister smile on her face, so perhaps Sunny isn't all we think she is.
Hannah prepares a concoction of herbs to place under Sunny's bed to protect her from any spirits while Peter plays guitar with his friend Danny and sing a traditional song from their home country. Peter confesses to his mom that he doesn't know where his life is headed, but he's grateful to her for providing him with stability and guidance. He gets into bed with Sunny and asks Peter how Hannah lost her hand. We discover Peter thinks it was in a car accident. Later, Hannah and her husband, Nicola, discuss about Sunny. She thinks it's strange that she didn't have any friends at the wedding. Hannah goes into the garden and places an apple and a stake onto the firethorn, which reaches out and consumes the offering. She stands in the thorns and allows them to bite at her legs as she says an incantation. Peter suffers frightening nightmares and sees visions of a corpse being unearthed. Meanwhile, Mate, Danny's brother, is dragged from sleep by a strange voice calling his name. Following it into the garden, he sees a vague shape of a creature with a woman's face in the garden before he's stabbed from behind. Peter too has sleepwalked outside and wandered back to the house after waking up in the garden. He sees Sunny, but for a flash, her face is disfigured. She has no hair, and one of her eyes appears to have been put out. But only for a moment, and she's back to normal again, and she takes Peter to bed. Peter wakes up the following morning, and his mother is disappointed to hear that he and Sunny are planning on staying for another day. Sunny is still feeling poorly after her incident with the Firethorn. Peter's sister Zara arrives, and like her mother, she's gifted a mystic and offers to give Sunny a palm reading. But unfortunately, eerie music plays, and before Zara can make any progress, Sunny backs out, maybe because she has something to hide. Hannah asks if Zara sensed anything, but Zara says nothing besides that she's pregnant before and she has a date with a local boy. In the bathroom, Sunny's hair is manipulated by an unseen hand, and she asks for answers from the strange whispers in the air. Peter knocks on the door and asks who she is talking to, but she says no one. He apologizes to Zara, and the two of them embrace. A dead bird hits the window, leaving a blood spot on the glass. At the Firethorn, Hannah notices that the Firethorn has uncovered the skull of her sister Aishi. She fears the curse her sister attempted to cast will finally be set loose upon her family. Nicola is writing his life story when Peter asks him what he's writing about. Nicola plays it close to his chest, says he's writing about family history, and Peter asks if the stories have anything to do with his birth father. Nicola says nothing, and Peter is irritated about the secrets his family keeps from him. Out in the woods, Nida is confronted by a strange, unseen figure. She says she knows who they are, but before we see them, they seem to strike her down. Back at the house, Danny asks if Hannah has seen Mate. He hasn't seen him since last night, but Hannah, her mind on the curse, says she has no time to help. Peter looks through Nicola's manuscript and finds writing on the abolished curse. Looking up, he catches a flash of the same bald, disfigured woman he saw before as Hannah enters, and she vanishes. Hannah looks outside and spots Sunny smiling back at her through the glass. Her suspicion of the girl is rising. She goes to her room and takes the hairband Sunny wore at her wedding and adds it to a strange, steaming pot in the kitchen. As it absorbs the liquid, she pulls it out and places it on her head. The pain is searing, but it grants her a vision of Sunny's past.
We discover, of course, that Sunny has an ulterior motive. She is actually Aisha's sister. A witch tells her that Batar will grant her passage to the Firethorn and give her the power to grant Aishi's spirit.
Going to Nicola, Hannah thinks she can defeat the curse by binding her soul to Aishi's. Joining their voices and giving her the power to stop it, Nicola pleads with her not to and tells her to swear. He tells her they have to tell him the truth about his father. Peter confronts his mother about keeping secrets. She offers him a pendant for protection against the spirit, but in his rage, he throws it away. The Firethorn creeps closer to the house, and Danny, who has come to help, finds himself trapped by it as he edges around outside.
Sunny stands in the garden and pleads with the unseen spirit of her sister to let her know what she needs to do. She's conflicted by her task, and while she knows what she must do, she's not evil.
Hannah summons Aishi's spirit and attempts to reason with her. The spirit grabs her and passes her hand over, carving the words, "No mercy," into her flesh. Hannah realizes that now Sunny is pregnant, the curse will also affect her child, the life of Aishi's unborn niece or nephew. Perhaps they can use this face to appeal to Aishi's vengeful spirit. Outside, Peter hugs Sunny, and she tells him that she's pregnant. She complains that he's hugging her too tight, but he doesn't seem to pay attention, and as she pushes him away, his hands are covered in blood, as are hers. As she goes to clean it off in the bathroom, so does Peter, but he finds that it won't wash off. A voice whispers that it will never wash off, and he snaps around to see Aishi's spirit behind him. Sunny is suffering from the same problem in the bathroom. The blood won't wash off. Hannah confronts her, telling her she won't let her condemn her family. She runs to where her sister's skull is buried and starts digging it out.
Why? Well, it's hard to say. The film is not very good at explaining what's going on and why certain characters behave the way they do, with lots of plots going nowhere and moments happening for apparently no reason.
Running back to the house with no skull, Hannah finds Peter pinning Sunny against the wall with a shovel. She interrupts them and whispers an incantation to Peter, and he snaps back to being himself but realizes all the people who have been killed so far might have been killed by him. Aishi's control over Peter returns, and Hannah and Sunny run into the garden. She sets a salt circle around them to keep Peter out and begins chanting. Peter approaches with a shovel in hand. He is turned away by the salt circle but goes for Sunny with the shovel. Hannah rushes to stop him, and we see that she has stabbed him in the throat, killing him. His body falls limply next to Sunny's, whose neck also drips and gushes blood from the shovel wound. Later, Nicola comes to feed a dazed, distant Hannah. She stares into the distance as he leaves, and as the film ends, we see the screaming impression of Aisha's deformed skull on her face.
The Accursed ends confusingly, and is confusing the whole time that it's going on. It's crowded with far too many characters who behave in strange ways, and lots of narrative threads that just don't seem to go anywhere, and they should just be edited out of the film altogether. When the payoff finally arrives, it's hard to feel invested in anything, which is a shame because the folklore basis of the story is an interesting premise. Thankfully, this is a very short film, but even the 80-minute runtime is just hard to justify when the movie is so loosely strung together. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when we upload, and don't forget to suggest movies that you want us to recap in the future in the comments down below.